How's it going, guys? So we got something interesting here for today's video. Got two different units we're demoing. These are compact wheel loaders from a company called Giant. Our local dealer here brought these out, likes their parts and equipment. Appreciate them doing that. Giant wanted us to try them out, kind of see how they compare to a skid steer. The first one is a G2700 Telly. So this actually has a telescopic boom on it. 66 horsepower. This is a little bigger than the other one. Might not be able to fit around at quite as small spaces as this other one here. This is a G2700HD Plus. So this is a 50 horsepower machine. And this one does not have the telescopic arm on it. So with these being wheel loaders, they articulate in the middle. I was just driving around the driveway a little bit here. Definitely turn really tight. A little bit longer than a skid loader, but these guys might be able to get pretty much anywhere a skid loader can. I don't know, we'll see. I'm gonna be feeding cows this afternoon. See how it goes the first time. So yeah, the first thing you'll notice with a wheel loader is you get to climb right in the side versus the front on a skid steer. It's pretty nice. So yeah, one thing that's nice with these is they come with the skid steer mount plate on the front, so we can use all of our attachments for either of these two machines. And it's got the hydraulic latch on these, which is good. Okay, I got my mixer set up here. We're gonna start mixing for the dry cows. We're mixing for the dry cows first. I got soybean meal and some dry hay in. Now I'm gonna head down to the ag bag. We'll grab some tread a cow. It's definitely something different to get used to when you turn the wheel, how much it swings a bucket side to side. I think it's gonna be really smooth once I get the hang of using it. It's kind of glides around, nothing like a skid loader. It does have a high and low range, goes up to 18 miles an hour. I guess I blew a hydraulic hose or something here. Well, that was just a funny coincidence. Blew a hydraulic hose. I don't think it was a loader because I wasn't even working it. It wasn't even running that fast. Just gonna drop it in the shop. My dad will go get a new hose for it. Just rubbing on this piece of metal enough here and wore through. Now I'm working at the milking cow batch. I got some haylage and mineral in there. Go ahead and put our different commodities in. I'm ready to add the silage now. My dad got that shaver fixed and he used the skid steer today. That's a job that it'd be nice to have a little more experience on the loader before I start doing that. We'll just work at scooping for now. I got a chance to mix feed with both of the loaders. Definitely preferred the bigger one just because of the extra lift height. This little guy is pretty impressive. It's got a lot of power and pep for its size. You can see when I was loading the mixer, it was just high enough you could get over it, but you couldn't really dump the scoop down in easily. Couldn't see the tip of it anymore if you wanted to dump the scoop out. Also, this smaller machine with a shorter wheelbase, smaller tires, definitely a little bit rougher driving around on the driveways. We got some rough spots around here. They're both really fast. They go up to 18 miles an hour. We tried cleaning up the troughs like we do every morning. I could get in there with this one just barely. It was pretty tight. Small guy did a good job with that.
A lot easier to get perpendicular. There, nice and straight. Yeah.
Today we want to try and load the manure spreader a little bit. See how both of these guys do. Dad got it hooked up over there. We're gonna clean out some calf pens. We'll see. It's pretty tight in that barn. We might be asking too much to try and clean it out with these, but at least figure we'll give it a try. It is really nice in this thing how well I can see beside me, around behind me. In a skid steer, pretty much just walls straight beside me. You can see a little bit out the back window, but I do feel a lot safer driving around people and stuff in this machine. I got what I could out of that first pen there with the bigger loader. We go get the small one and see if we can get the rest of the pen cleaned out. I thought this job might be a little bit too much for these machines. It's pretty impressive. This thing really had good power digging into the pile. Felt like I could scoop in a lot better. The skid loader kind of spins out going into that pack at first. It's definitely impressive how well this machine can move around in a tight space, but it's still limited because of its length and its inability to actually turn in a complete circle like the skid steer can. Let's see if the little guy can do it. It would also help if I was a little bit more skilled. I'm just learning how to drive that thing. Even so, I don't think you can get that whole pen cleaned out with the bigger loader there. Visibility is even better out of this little guy. So I could work at it more here and eventually get this cleaned out, but I think we get the idea. If you got a really skilled operator in here, you could probably do it pretty well with this small one. I'm gonna break something if I'm not careful. One thing with these articulating machines, you could actually get stuck against a wall, I feel. To back to the left, my front end has to go to the right first, and if there's nowhere to go in the front end, how are you supposed to turn out of the corner? I don't know. I guess these are all things you learn over time. One thing I really like about the loaders, they don't tear the stone up with the articulation. The wheels are not skidding around, they're just driving, so it's definitely nicer on the driveways. This calf barn, it's got a 16-foot center alley here. Probably wouldn't build the same barn if I had wheel loaders and I wanted to make it work for them. We've been piling manure for the last bit because we don't have any fields to spread on. Just gonna spread this right here and then we'll push it up in with the big loader, see if we can get it pushed into a big pile. Loader definitely works good for pushing the pile up. I'm not a very skilled operator, but if you got good at it, definitely use that telescoping feature to your advantage. I wouldn't be able to get the pile that high with the skid steer. It doesn't extend out crazy far, but it definitely gives you a nice amount more reach. So you got a joystick here, control your boom, bucket tilt and up and down. And right here's the telescoping function. Pull that back in. This is your forward and reverse. And high and low button right there. And then they got a hydraulic control right here on the back. So whatever attachment you want to hook up. This one actually has 2 hookups in the front. They even have a hitch with a hydraulic hookup in the back as well. But a good rain shower come through here I wasn't expecting. Dad's gonna run it again here this afternoon to feed. One thing I really like about the loader is it tilts the bucket up higher when you have a load of hay like that. Our skid loader doesn't tilt up very steep. It can tip out the front, kind of fall out the front sometimes. My dad has spent decades running skid loaders, so you put them in a different machine, it's kind of hard to even compare it because it's just a learning curve. Completely different controls. I actually think if we were forced to use this machine, we could start getting pretty good at it and would like it a lot. See what he thinks scooping into this Triticale ag bag. It is nice, you can actually see your front edge. If you tilt it front a little bit like that, driving up the pile, you can get it to the right spot. And this loader does have better traction than the skid loader does. Seems to scoop in pretty nice. So I want to give you guys my thoughts on the Giant compact wheel loader after running it for a few hours, trying it on some different jobs. So my first thought when running it, I really like sitting up in the cab. You can see a whole lot better beside you and behind you. Having young kids running around the farm, being able to see around your machine is really valuable. If you're going to sell this machine to me, that would probably be the best argument you can make. The entry is another big thing we really like. Having the side door like this, one step up, it's really easy to get in and out. If you have a load on the bucket or the bucket's up in the air, it's still safe to get in and out of the cab. Now seeing out the front, it's not quite as good as a skid loader because you have this arm right in front of you. You can see the sides of the bucket pretty well. In the skid loader, one of the things I really don't like is when we're loading the mixer, you have to lean forward to be able to see up out of the cab, see your bucket edge. Whereas in this machine, you can just sit back in your seat and you got good vision of the edge of the bucket when you're dumping into the mixer. This telescopic boom definitely takes up more space in front of you. You got extra hydraulic lines versus this other unit. Visibility is quite a bit better on this one down to the bucket area. I love driving it around the farm. It's definitely smooth going around turns. You're not skidding, so it just takes the turns nice and easy. You're not wearing out tires. These giant loaders, they articulate in the middle and they also oscillate, which means they twist this way. So if you hit a bump with your front tire, that can lift up and your back tires will still stay on the ground, and definitely helps smooth the ride out. Makes it safer if you hit a bump with a load of feed. It's not gonna get tipsy or move your back end near as much. Definitely noticed. I like the big tires. The traction's really good. Scooping in, just these bigger tires just grab on a little better than the skid loader does. The thing has a high and low range, goes up to 18 miles an hour, which is really fast. Took it out on the road a little bit, cruised down to the other farm, no problem. Definitely quicker than the skid loader. If you have enough space, it's a lot nicer. If we were going out and picking up bales or something in the field, this would be a much better machine than a skid steer. So I think we would be able to save some costs running something like this over a skid steer every day, just in tire wear and then also fuel efficiency. You're not running the engine RPMs as high consistently like you are with the skid loader. When we turn that on, we got to turn the throttle up a good bit just to be able to steer and drive. Whereas this thing, you just use the gas pedal when you need extra power and then kind of gears up when you're cruising. You don't need to have the RPMs up too high. So then some of the downsides of this machine versus a skid loader, just with the bucket being so much farther in front of you, it's hard to be as precise. Like we're trying to pick out a little bit of spoiled feed in the bunk. It's hard to see exactly where your bucket's at up here. And I think with time, we would get better at that. Although a skid loader is just hard to be. You can see your cutting edge just right in front of you. So I do think this G2700 could have a place on our farm. Definitely some good uses for it, although we still need to have a skid loader around for certain jobs. It would be great for feeding. The only issue is cleaning up every morning those trough sweepings. It's just a little tight trying to make that turn in an 18-foot feed alley. We like to just be able to use our skid loader, pivot in there, scoop against the sidewall, and be on our way. We don't really want to have to get out and shovel. Whereas this thing, it could kind of make the turn. It was just really tight. Maybe as we got more skilled, we could do it. It definitely did better than the telehandler could with that. Seems to get around a little better than one of those will. Still hard to beat the skid loader with that job. So I just want to thank Giant for reaching out to me and sending these demos out. Also, our local dealer, Lancaster Parts and Equipment. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this one, guys. We'll see you in the next one.